Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of, wait for it, Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice. Yay! Yes, I'm very glad to be back at this game. I still love it, and it's not just a nostalgia thing. It's not just some, outdated but still sort of fun. No, this is still a most excellent game. I truly love it. And yes, excuse me, still dealing with this. Just had a long thread, some posting on with Panzeroo there on sort of the future of, a version or two beyond this. I think what is this, 8.53 or something, I forget. Been a while since I was rattling that off. And they're now at 8.61 or something, whatever. And they're still planning on the future. But we talked a little bit about, and I got a lot of friends there that were posting, including major contributors to Third Reich events, like George 1941. Who were, I'm still playing this game, and, to a point, meaning Hearts of Iron 4 sucks. Well, it sort of does suck today. But as Panzeroo points out, most of you, because most of you who are watching this are Black Ice players, would not be playing Hearts of Iron probably 3 if it wasn't for Black Ice. And literally the hundreds of modders that contributed to it. So you're comparing Black Ice with newly released Hearts of Iron 4, and you're absolutely right. This is a much better game than what is there. But as like Panzeroo also says, Black Ice, this thing is basically broken Hearts of Iron 3. It's pushed it beyond its capabilities, and he used the term broken. It's not me. And so that's sort of my point, is that I found Hearts of Iron 3 when For the Motherland was out. I quickly, and I know I stated this some in there if you've read the posting, I quickly disliked it. The thing that made me almost quit playing was that the rifles for regular infantry and mechanized units were different somehow. And at first I sort of was, you're sort of early adopting of a Stimmgewehr or something like that for the mechanized troops. But then very quickly I was starting to dislike it. Then I found the Götterdämmerung, or the, what is it? I don't know. Sorry, my Latin or something. Götterdämmerung, the Dig, D-I-G, DLC, and that got rid of that problem and made much more immersion for Germany by D-Day and a few other people. Found that, and that's when I sort of started modding for Third Reich events. And then I found eventually, and I was like some of these other people, a little nervous about something that was called a mod, is how well was it done, because at the time I had experience in other games. Some mods were great, were as good or better than the core game itself. Other mods weren't. Okay, and so and some flat out sucked, but that's sort of what I sort of was worried about. But once I found Black Ice, there was no going back, and really found it and started looking at it. And so that, to me, saved Hearts of Iron for me and kept me playing it. It was Black Ice. And so all of you, and if you're one of the refusenicks who hasn't even bought Hearts of Iron 4, I'm totally there with you. I totally get that. I totally get that Hearts of Iron 4 is not the game you want to play yet. That's why I say this is still a great game, not just some. And I've never played or Hearts of Iron 1 or 2. I know a few of you do play 2, I think, still. I sort of look at that and look at some of the screenshots and go, yeah, it's okay, but it's more, to me, I would say nostalgia, because I think this is better. I know some of you have your reasons why you're still doing 2, and that's fine. But and I still like old games too, as well. You know, I mean, not just a got to play the newest stuff, because obviously, look at it, Baldur's Gate, where I'm still playing. So you know, it's not that sort of thing. But so, like I was saying, this has sort of pushed the game, and yes, Oh My God and a few other guys are still tweaking, expanding, working, adding detail to Hearts of Iron 3 Black Ice, and that's great, but it's a dead end. It really is. On all of you to some point, and maybe you're going to be happy with the dead end, but have to realize that it is a dead end. That doesn't mean that you stop playing now and you jump to the new thing. I, as a modder, feel I need to jump to the new thing to get it ready for you guys when you're ready to move over. And that's how I look at it. I really look at it as that way, is someday when it is ready, I think everybody should move to Hearts of Iron 4. It may not be everything we want, and there still may be some features. I don't know if we're ever going to have, in my opinion, Black Ice does it best, but there's still some limitations to it, and so I totally get it. But the lovely command structure, I can't say what I might know, what might be coming, but and I'm not talking about command structure, I'm just talking about things in the future. To Hearts of Iron 4. And so some features you may, like I say, like command structure, you may never get back, but I do think ultimately it's going to be better. And one of the terms might be, there's still a lot of stuff being worked out, and as I'm making this, a couple days ago they put out the developmental diary, which had sort of incorporated the No Man's Land mod. It's not. It's they've done it differently. It's they made basically, and I have not looked, quite honestly, have not looked at it in detail, so I can sort of speculate. Is that they made borders between certain provinces impassable. So it's not like this province here you can be in and this province you can't. It's just the border around it is not. One of the things they showed was how some of the passes for, like the Khyber Pass here, I believe it's through Peshawar here, is passable, but you can't pass through the other provinces, so you can just hold one province. But I think you can come in and occupy it once you get around it. So it's not quite the No Man's Land, as in that they removed, functionally they've blocked out much of Africa. You know, this part of Africa in here that you just can't ever enter. But a part of it is simply that you can't get from Providence X to Providence Y directly. You have to come through the pass. So it's a different mechanic than what we have here with a need infrastructure level 2. It's different than No Man's Land in that they're entirely removing provinces. What I think, and again I don't know, is the idea that if they made terrain type desert impassable and gave it to this province, say here, the AI might still be, because they see a possible front, might still be lining up defending divisions along it. And I think that is some of the problem with making certain provinces either infrastructure level 1 or 0 being unpassable. The AI may not be smart enough to not defend against that. And if you just made a terrain type that they can't move in again, you know, a different terrain type, but whether it has infrastructure or not, it may be still trying to defend against it. So I think that could be where they can tell that the non-connection border, they won't defend at that point. So that is, you know, a way that they've implemented it. It's not what they wanted to do. They would like to have basically provinces that are practically impassable, so that both the AI and humans, for the most part, ignore them. And if you start sending a division down into here, it just dies by attrition. Excuse me. That's what they want to have happen, but with the AI and other problems, they keep doing it, and you can't tell the AI to just ignore this, because then they'll start ignoring other things. So it's a work in progress. We may not get everything that we want, but I think ultimately we will get something much better in the long run. Now, still, this isn't thinking, oh, well, the next DLC, maybe it'll be where we want. No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying 2 or 3 years down the road, getting to where I think all of you that are Hearts of Iron 3 players will finally go, or most all of you will finally go, yep, what you get in 4 with presumably a black ice or similar sorts of mods will be a better game than 3. Because we can talk about one thing that I know that they're very clear on, and sometimes they haven't been communicating this very well, is, and Panzeru also mentioned, they're no longer working on this AI. No one's working on this AI. You can get into some of the EULA files and tweak some stuff, but they're no longer working on the AI. They are actively, aggressively working on improving the AI in all types of terms. That whether it's the combat AI, which of course is what most people see as atrocious, and it's getting better in major ways, but also diplomatic and other elements of the AI. They're actively working on it, and that's where I think in the long run, if nothing else is, and I forget, sorry, one of you guys that posted here, they're already sort of bored of black ice, is that there's zero challenge to them, and I don't know exactly what country they're playing, you know, and I agree that with that player, he's gotten it down, and there isn't a challenge to the game, and that is why we're sort of hitting a brick wall with future developments. It isn't going to get better. You can, we're playing here with America or with Britain, so we have a bit of a challenge. If I had all of these forces that were smartly deployed, and you could even say, oh well, yeah, leave National Guard or other sorts of garrison units to smartly, garrison ports and other critical areas, we would have crushed Germany and Japan long ago. Excuse me. So that's what we're looking at. That you can pick your, pick Italy or something, and can give you more of a challenge because it's a more limited country versus somebody like Germany or playing the U.S. Okay. Enough talking about things. Just wanted to share that with you. We are going to play some here. Don't worry. Okay, go to. I stopped attacking here. I sort of kind of wish they'd leave there and get enough units spread out, and then I can get there. Okay. No, we want to crush this as soon as we can. We want to crush that, which will take out. Well, let's see if we can do it right now. No, shoot, we had an overrun here. I'm reluctant partially for time. Partially for that this is where the real decision is going to be made getting to Berlin. Is do we continue bother with the, sending more resources down to the Balkans? Okay, good. We'll take this out. Because, quite honestly, I can lose everything down here, and still win this war readily. Just doesn't do good for the ego if you understand that, Oh, yes, I almost forgot about this old front here. See if we can push up to here. Oh, we're fighting against Guderian. Level 7 general. With lots and lots of traits. We're hitting this really big stack of units here. A lot of them are HQs, some of these are, you know, SS Corps, Panzer Corps, so they have some sort of armor in them, but they're not proper divisions. I want to just continue to smash. Through. Not give them respite. Okay, we've lost here. Province, yeah. We're holding that one. They're moving up there. Okay, they retreated out of there, so... yeah, we all retreat here. We can give up the land. Okay, they're counterattacking, alright. I'm sort of trying to somewhat close these pockets here. You can support the attack there. No, major defeat. Where do we have that? Okay. Here, okay, well, whatever. We're just not getting enough supplies. Okay, so we got Lek, which took out an air base. Let's push down this way. Yeah, I sort of want to let them lose the naval and air base faster. Oh, and we need to do some adjusting here. No, I have other things. As soon as I take that province, that pop-up should go away. Okay, naval HQs have advanced. That's good. Yeah, let's do that. And dual purpose AA guns. It's under artillery, is it not? Okay, we let that continue going since that's just a 43 technology. Radar guided bombs have advanced. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been playing this on routinely. Oh, it's under secret, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, we've got that. That's good. That'll help some of our attacks, which is good. Come on, get off defending. There you go. Well, good. We wanted something here. Here. Okay, good. That means we won't. This is a particularly weak unit, but we'll let them fight. Oh, Mulhausen. I believe there was a death camp there. We had a lot of the death camps were in the east, but not all. Been reading a fascinating book on Hitler's compromises is the title. Okay, well this is now become Soviet territory, but this is no longer German, and we will use it. Unit there. No, not that. There, support attack. Hitler's compromise, and it's fascinating, and it's really good. How do I put this? It's not just dealing with, I don't know, different people's speeches and statements. It's dealing a lot with the actual events and the German government's reaction to them. And it's one thing is, if you've watched my German series, particularly I talk about, is there's, you know, the send in the goon squads option for Germany. That's absolutely what Hitler and the Nazis never did in Germany. They never sent in the goon squads. And then you might come back, oh, the SA did this. And yes, but if you look at this and the way they do this, the way the Nazis did this for the Germans. Now, it's entirely different when you go to Poland. They sent in the goon squads, and the super goon squads, and the super duper bad goon squads. I'm not trying to say the Nazis were good or righteous or anything like that. No, is with the German people of the right type, and I you know I've used that term, of the right type. Yes, if you were Jewish, if you were communist, if you were homosexual, there were these other sort of bad types. Then you did have a bit of the goon squad, up to a lot of the goon squad. But for the general German people, it was just the velvet glove. There was no real iron fist inside that velvet glove for the German people as a whole. And this book goes in and talks about how the Nazi program for Germany and how that dealt with resistance inside of Germany, and a lot of it's with the churches, but other types of resistance. And they very much felt that if ever that there was starting to be like a popular protest, and there were bunches of them, and they things that I didn't know about because they weren't publicized, because Germany didn't want them publicized, and they weren't large shouting crowds. Mostly the protests against the Nazis, they're often sort of silent protests that large groups of people would go out in the streets and just sort of stand there and things. That whenever it did this, the Nazis started to get this type of resistance, it immediately backed off because it felt that it needed to you know, not go ahead of where the German people were ready to go. That's sort of a key element there. So that they were pushing a policy too far, too fast, so they had to back off. And that's the way they worked. And they talk about this and how very much, and I'm learning more about how they Gaull by Gaull, and the Gauleiters had a lot of control over these different programs. And some areas they were full steam ahead and with a policy, and they were doing it, and everybody was, the great majority of the people were all on board, and it was just going. And other Gauls, Gauls, I should say, Gauls is a ancient people in France, but the other Gauls, there was lots of resistance. So the Gauleiter was very much, even including very high levels of Hess and Hitler, told to back off. Don't do that. Well, I know we put out this policy, but stop that in your Gau, because it is unpopular. Back off, backtrack. And some Gauleiters were very good at manipulating the local populace and the elites in there. Others were sort of boorish and got a lot of backlash, and so they're going in instance by instance of how these different things. So it's not just different people's philosophies or what they wanted to do, but they're talking about the detailed mechanics of how Hitler made lots of compromises, though no compromises in goals, in end states, but just in when you got too much resistance, often with the church, but in other parts of society, got resistance in some often region of Germany, back off of it there. Backtrack. And they talk about how much that with popular perception was that Hitler kept his mystique, that he wasn't behind any of these kinds of things. That there was very much, if Hitler only knew that we were having these problems in X part of Germany, he would solve it. This is just a problem with the local Nazi leadership. And so there was very much this idea, this mystique, that Hitler doesn't necessarily know about all of these things going on, and he knew most of them, or at least the very upper echelon knew about it. But periodically, once it either was, in some cases, forced the attention that enough of the leaders, local leaders, that weren't part of the Nazi Party core or whatever, made appeals and got there, that Hitler had to take, notice, and it was sort of like, oh yeah, no, this is a problem kind of thing. Hitler, make some sort of statement. They've gone too far. This has gone, this has gone overboard or whatever. And so that there very much was the idea of that going on there, and then other cases, they kept him out, entirely kept him out of it. But it was a very interesting way of looking at that. I think that's these. Okay, well, so it's very interesting the way that they're doing, and so it's going to make it into some of my work. I knew the basic premise, like I said, that if you're the right type of Germans, they weren't, sending in the goon squads. They weren't. Is this here? Yeah. Well, we'll get out soon. But we're helping our Czech-held territories. So, very fascinating stuff. And I really like the specific incidents that they're covering, and that helps me for modding, because some of those specific incidences are likely to make it into the mod. Okay, we won here. Let's go take out Schwerin. And yes, we're losing provinces up here. everybody moving forward. Okay, well, we've bottlenecked this little group up, which may not be the best of ideas just because they're all sitting in fortifications, but what it will do, hopefully, is allow that move. Start working on getting a connection. Yes, you're attacking on my big super stack. Now we need to move. These guys are coming forward. Let's take back a province. Okay, my air is just struggling to operate. I think I am sending enough, well, enough supply convoys. Yeah, that's mostly good. You need to occupy that province. Into Brunswick. Yeah, well, do what you can holding their Australians. We're retreating back to a more sensible border. To stop advancing. Come on, America, get your units over here. Well, we're going to end this episode here. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. as you can probably tell from my personality, I like to investigate things. So I go watch some other channels and stuff that talk about how to do a YouTube channel well, and how some of their channels are. These are all much bigger guys than I am doing, and many of them are outside of the gaming industry for channels. But one thing that they're saying very much now that is helping more is thumbs up likes are important, where thumbs down likes now are, no, I don't get enough of those, fortunately, to really make an opinion setup. But so the thumbs up really likes, but also what really likes in the you know, the bots that run YouTube don't really take into account what is said, but engagement, you know, even just thanks for the video, I liked the video today, or whatever, really sort of helps promote up the video the more people are posting there. So any of you who, you know, posting that, you know, I know it may seem repetitive, but I do thank you for just making comments, whether they are useful for the game or history, or, you know, definitely I want corrections on my history, because again, I'm just going off the top of my head here. Whether they're like that, or just again, thanks for the video, it really does help promote the channel up, which helps things. So thanks so much to all you who do that. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.